Amazing. What's going on, guys? How are you doing? This is The Conservative, and we are live on an amazing Sunday morning or Sunday evening. Sunday morning. On an amazing Sunday evening, we are at the eve of Memorial Day. Tomorrow will be the time for people to get together, for families to get together to reflect on the very people who gave up their lives for us to be free. The very people who sacrificed their life to make sure that our rights, um, that our rights from the Constitution, that was our unalienated rights as U.S. citizens, that is stated in the Constitution, that was given not by government but by God. Um, and these are the very rights that these people fought for, and a lot of them died for. But they fought for our rights to be free in this country. So so tomorrow is the day of reflection, and also it'll be a time for thanks, and a time for appreciating life and appreciating the fact that you're able to live every day free in the greatest country on the planet. Um, but it's interesting. We're going through some very interesting times. Um, I'm looking at my country, and my country is in disarray. There's a lot of anger, a lot of confusion, a lot of sadness that is happening in this very country, and a lot of that, it's due to the simple fact that Americans have really fallen out of what used to make this country great. Keep in mind, um, the First Amendment right states that we have the right to practice any religion that we want, which is true, and no one's religious belief should be infringed upon. Um, but make no mistake, regardless of what religion you practice, Christianity, this country was founded on Christianity. And Christianity the reason why this country was founded on Christianity by Christian men, by white white Judeo-Christian men, is because Christianity is the only religion in which it allows you to hold yourself accountable for your actions and to repent. I can't really say that any other religion does that, but I know for a fact that Christianity indeed does that. It allows you to see yourself, to know yourself, and if you have fallen out of God's grace, that it gives you the opportunity to ask for His forgiveness, so that you can be one of God's children. Um, and that's something that America has really fallen out of place of. Um, the Allahu Akbar religion will not get you, when I have allow you to seek salvation, or any other religion. won't be able to do it as well as Christianity would. And that's what made America great again. Um, what really made America great again was the simple fact that this country was founded on Christianity. Its principles was embedded in Christianity. What Christianity does is that it allows people to treat other people as a whole. In Christianity, there's no such thing as racism, for we not wrestle with flesh and blood, but with principalities, the powers against the darkness of the rulers of the world, and against spiritual wickedness in higher places. Our battle is not a physical battle, but a spiritual one. And that's something that people have fallen out of place of. And that's the reason why you're seeing a lot of the issues that you're seeing today. In case if you guys are unaware, obviously the biggest story that's happened was the mass shooting that occurred in some part of Texas. Um, the elementary school in which the mass shooting occurred in was Robb Elementary, where a mentally disturbed young man, I'm sorry, went right into, walked into an elementary school and gunned down 19 children along with two adult teachers. And that now is the talk of the week. I think it happened about a week ago, and now that is the talk of the week. That's all everyone is talking about. That's all everyone can't speak of, despite the fact of all the other mass shootings that occurred. That are occurring all throughout the country, mainly in the inner cities. But I'll touch on that later. But this is the thing that everybody wants to speak on, especially the godless, evil Democrats. Um, and it's the Democrats that once again, who by the way can care less about this calamity and can care less about the families that were affected by this calamity. They are now using this platform to once again um, push their political agenda to infringe on our Second Right Amendment to bear arms. All right. These Democrats, it's bad enough. These Democrats already want to take the very guns that law abiding gun owners have, but now they want to make it even harder for you to own a gun. All because of what? Because some lunatic, which by the way, you guys really did not want to emphasize because he was a non-white person. Had this person who committed this mass shooting was a white person, like the white guy in Buffalo, New York, his name would have been published that same day. His name would have been published. um, his race would have been published, but also his family would have been displayed as well. Every single type of personal detail that the fake news mafia were able to get their hands on about this person, it would have been completely doxed for the world to see. But because this guy was a Latino person, they didn't quite want to get on this very person for committing this heinous act. Clearly, this person was mentally disturbed. This person um, went and shot his grandmother in the face before carrying out the um, the uh, the act of killing 19 children and two adult teachers within the same day before he was finally shot and killed by a border patrol officer. And I think the reason why the border patrol officer was able to come in and shoot and kill the suspect is because the area where the incident happened borders right along Mexico. So that means that the border patrol and law enforcement were nearby. Just another sad, sad, sad situation. But who's to blame? Who's to blame? Well, I'll tell you what the Democrats are blaming. They're once again blaming the instrument because it makes sense. An instrument can pick itself up, aim it at someone, right? Or several people and pull the trigger all on its own. That's right. It's the instrument that needs to be punished. We need to punish the instrument and make sure that people do not gain access to this instrument. Even though this was an act that was committed by one person. Amazing stuff. If you don't believe me, all right, I want you to take a look at these stupid Democrats. These very Democrats who can care less about your rights and more about their feelings and their agendas that they are willing to push even if it doesn't fit within your best interests. All right. I want you to listen to these stupid Democrats as they're using um, another calamity to push their political agenda to take away your guns and to own a right to a gun. Listen to these stupid Democrats right here. I want you to listen to these stupid people.
Town and this place. We are never, we are not prepared to allow the gun lobby and the gun industry to continue to run this town and this place. We are never, ever going to give up until we make our schools, we make our shopping malls, we make the streets of this country a safe place to live and work. We are never, ever giving up until we win this fight.
I want to see the first two votes on background checks and a red flag statute.
Background checks and a red flag statute.
Stand, and every one of them will be held accountable if they fail to vote the right way.
To the parents, the classmates, the co-workers of the 19 students and 2 teachers who perished in Uvalde, Texas this week. Yes, we offer our condolences. Yes, we offer our thoughts and prayers. But thoughts and prayers alone is not enough to prevent future tragedies from happening.
And as those funerals go on and you see more of those pictures of those kids in their communion dresses and in their baseball uniforms, every single time I want you all to think that 18-year-old didn't have to go out and get an assault weapon. This is completely preventable. So let's get to work, and when we get back, if they don't join us, we march.
Amazing. Sorry guys, I'm just nice. Still kind of getting the hang of this, but um that's amazing. All right. These people are dumb. These people are dumb. All right. And what was the main denominator that you heard all throughout this? I mean, what was the main denominator that you heard? What was the main message that you heard? All you really heard was a bunch of emotions, a bunch of emotions, and they're trying to capitalize on that emotion to try to get you to make an emotional decision to vote to continue to vote for these people so that these people can pass laws to infringe on your rights. Remember, We have the power. You don't have to listen to their gaslighting. You don't have to. All right? These very people that are claiming that that they need to pass more background checks to allow people like us, or to limit people like us to, to grab the to purchase the very guns that we the people have a right to do. Ask yourself this question: are they going to do the same to the very people who 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 protect them, uh, with guns? Think about it. These people want to restrict your access to a gun, and yet they are willing to allow other people, other armed security, to have guns to protect them. So they get all of the protection and you front the bill for it while you get zero protection? I don't think so. And the Second Amendment was put in because it was meant to protect us from a tyrannical government. Well, what you're seeing right there is a tyrannical government. And that's the reason why we need to protect ourselves. Can you really trust the government to protect you? Can you even trust can you really trust the government to protect you? The government has been shown to lie on several occasions. The government can't even give you correct news because they're willing to make up the narrative and then shove it down your throat as news. You know what I mean? The government wants you to believe what they want you to believe and not what's really the truth. Like, for instance, how you had how you had politicians, legislators come in and say that the trust the Trump Russia collusion was real. All right. Eric Swalwell, a congressman, a legislator, a person that votes on legislation to potentially to potentially become law. A legislator came out and said that the Trump Russia collusion was real. And only to find out that it wasn't real. The so-called dossier that was supposed to be the lead testifier. To testify. All right. To to testify in law, in a court, that he had documents, he had proof that connected Trump and Russia in in colluding and and impacting the 2016 election. He wound up being indicted for lying. Project Veritas was able to catch a CNN anchor named Van Jones, an a Project Veritas reporter, an undercover Project Veritas reporter was able to catch Van Jones uh, in a recorded conversation admitting that the Trump Russia collusion was a quote unquote nothing burger, and that he did that because that was the call from his boss, which I believe was Jeff Zucker at the time. It was a call from his boss to spread this propaganda, mainly getting in line and doing your job. It's all a lie, folks. You can't trust the government to trust. You can't trust the government. You can't take the government's word on anything. So yes, you do need to protect yourself. What if the government decides to go rogue? Do you trust that they will be the only entity to have guns? How do you protect yourself against that? You can't. You can't. And that's the bottom line. All right. Hold on, guys. You can't. So the thing is, you need you need to protect yourself. Do not allow these very people to control your rights to owning a firearm. You know what I mean? Because this is what they're doing. You've seen it. You've seen it right there. I was able to show you the clip. You've seen it for yourself. All right. Everything that they're basing is on nothing but emotions. They're using other families' tragedies, who they can care less about, to impose their own political agenda, to infringing on your rights to own a gun. And for some reason, they seem to be really, really, really intrigued with the AR-15, and I wonder why. Even though statistically, it's handguns that commit more mass shootings and mass killings than the AR-15. But for some reason, the Democrats really, really want a so-called assault rifle ban on the AR-15. Why? I have no idea. That's not even the instrument of choice that people use to kill. It's handguns, not the AR-15. But this is the government trying to overstep their reach, all right, on your rights. And if you allow them to do so out of fear, then you will. And see, this is the reason why Christianity is important. This is the reason why we need Christianity back. The only way that we're going to be able to get this country back is if this country is once again ran by politicians who truly, truly believe in God and God's way. That's the only way that we're going to be able to turn this around. All right. You have you have you have an administration right now that are running things based on the secular world, which is non-religious. Everything is based on the secular world. It's all based on their feelings and not based on anything that is right. Notice it's all about how they feel. It's about how they feel, but nothing that they're doing is based on morality. Nothing. These these are the same Democrats that are pushing for the right for women to kill the unborn child in their womb. All right. When someone was able to leak out the information that the Supreme Court could overturn Roe v. Wade, I mean, people went out of their minds. I mean, you saw Satan working overtime on these very people. You had women coming out protesting because they felt that that the um that the courts were going to take away their right to kill the unborn child in their womb. And notice that they'll never ever admit that they're committing homicide on the unborn child. They'll never ever admit that they are baby killers. They will never ever admit that. Instead, they have another name for it because they're too much of a coward to confront their immorality. Instead, what the women say is, "No, you're banning my right to reproductive health." Tell me what is so reproductive about ending life? When you reproduce, you produce life. Well, tell me, how are you producing life by taking one? Can anyone answer that question for me? Anybody? Anyone? Amazing. This is personified evil. Women coming out protesting because the courts can now be able to give the states the opportunity to rule against whether a woman has the right to kill the unborn child in their womb, which is the right thing to do. The federal government should not step their authority upon the states. I like that idea. All right, and these people are out here protesting about it, even though there are several states that would not turn. I mean, that there's several states that if you gave these states the opportunity to decide whether they should overturn Roe v. Wade, chances are they won't do it. A state like California would unlikely, highly unlikely, overturn Roe v. Wade. So these people are just overreacting over nothing. If you live in California, yes, a woman will have the opportunity to kill the unborn child in her womb. So ladies, relax, calm down. All right. If you want to be a baby murderer because you chose to be a slut, just move to California, or you can move to New Jersey. The state of New Jersey, which the super delegates are mainly Democrat, they're highly unlikely to overturn Roe v. Wade. But it's funny to see the way that these people are reacting to evil. It's just funny the way that it's just funny how these people are overreacting to evil. And I just literally just segued into another event. But I say this to make a point. The point that I'm trying to make is that all of these things that are occurring in this country, they are occurring because we the people, well, for the most part, the United States of America, the American people, for the most part, are in a fallen state. All right. Your government is in a fallen state. Nobody does anything that is of God. They are doing things that are of the world. All right. The United States of America has a secular way of living. Let's believe the United States of America is living a secular life. The United States of America are doing things that they feel that makes them feel good rather than doing things doing things that are right. They care more about doing things that makes them feel good, that makes them feel great rather than doing things that are of the right thing to do. All right? America lacks integrity because we lack a sense of God. There is no God in anything that this government is doing. And there's no God really within most of our lives. Think about that young man that committed that mass shooting. Think about, had he had the love that he was so yearning for, would he have committed that act? It kills me when these politicians come out and think that taking away the guns are going to stop the shootings. It's funny because the only thing that you're empowering when you take away the guns is you're empowering the very people who shouldn't have a gun in the first place, while disarming the very good people who cannot defend themselves against the very bad people with guns. All right. The truth of the matter is, America would be a lot more safe if there were more people that had access to more guns. The more gun presence, especially around gun presence among law-abiding citizens, the least likely that you'll be able to see these type of events occurring. Think about it. This mass Think about it. Uh, this this shooter who came in and massacred 19 children and two teachers. Do you think he would have committed that act if there was a strong armed presence within that school? All right. Where was the armed security? There was none. All right. Plus, there were reports that stated that that he was able to see a sign that said "gun gun free zone." I mean, come on, that's open season. Whenever a person who intends to kill a lot of people sees that sign, it's open season. He literally knows now. He literally knows because statistically show that the mass shootings that are committed among men. It clearly shows that he can set up shop easily. He can easily come in and say, "Okay, this is my camping ground now to just eradicate a lot of people." And who's going to stop me? And by the time they stop me, I would have already completed my mission. We need more guns, not less guns. We need more guns. All right. And also, the great white hope, Donald Trump, made a very, very, very good statement. Or actually, he made a very good point when he when he made his speech. When he made his speech at the NRA meeting in Houston, Texas, where he stated that that teachers need to be armed because if teachers are armed, then more likely they will be able to defend themselves against intruders like this. These tragedies really are preventable. It's tragic, but they should never happen because if society truly, truly, truly was able to relay the right message as of the way to live, then these are the type of things that could be prevented in the first place. You won't have to worry about people committing mass shootings if people weren't motivated to commit mass shootings in the first place. And why are people doing this? Because people have anger, because you have leaders, you have legislators and you have leaders that are creating the divisive situations among the races. They're promoting Black Lives Matter, a far left radical evil agitated group that was founded by a bunch of fat black radical lesbians who hate God, who hate the Constitution, who hate the family, who hate white people and who hate real men. Not I mean, like they love the homosexuals, but real men. And granted, when I speak about the lesbians, obviously, you have the right to be however you want to. I mean, you have the right to deal with whoever you want to deal with, even if it's wrong. You have the right to do that. Um, I mean, I'm not really against the lesbians who are who are living their lives even though they're doing it immorally. I'm not against them. I'm against the radical ones. The radical ones that want to impose, their beliefs upon other people. That is evil. That's wrong. If you want to live that way, you have the right to live that way. And you can live that way however you want to. That's fine. Nobody will ever bother you about being a lesbian. But when you try to impose your lifestyle upon other people, especially children, that is wrong. But that's a conversation for another day. Um yes, I mean it's one of these things that if 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 this man had the love that he needed, the love that he was asking for, you know, the love that he could get from his father, so that there's and if that were to happen, he wouldn't have been able to go out and commit this heinous act. The truth of the matter is, in a way, his parents let him down. Um, you know, his mother imposed his will on him, and his father failed to protect him from his mother. But had he known that and he was able to forgive his parents, then God would have been able to take that anger away from him, and he would have been able to live freely and live an amazing life. He wouldn't even think twice about wanting to kill anyone. This person was searching for blood. He was looking to eradicate anyone that got in his way. And it just so happened that 19 children and two teachers happened to cross his path. Tragic. But once again, when you are in a fallen state, yes, you will put yourself in a position to do these type of things. What a sad, sad world. I want my country back. I really want my country back. And we can start November 8th. Well, actually, we can start now putting in the right candidates to get rid of these godless Democrats and these rhino Republicans, people who are trying to infringe on our rights. Don't blame the law-abiding citizens and punish them for not owning a gun because you created a narrative that made people want to commit these acts. And trust me, believe me when I tell you, all right, this will not be the first mass shooting, and this isn't the first mass shooting, and this surely won't be the last. I promise you. And it's summertime right now. There's going to be more shootings and there's going to be more killings. As a matter of fact, I have one right here. As a matter of fact, there's an example. I can't show it on the screen, but I'm going to be able to read it off the phone. This is according to the Epic Times. All right. This was reported in Chicago. Chicago, by the way, is one of the cities that leads in the most homicides committed within the city. They come at number one. Um, the only other city that has less homicides than them would be the city of so-called brotherly love, Philadelphia, and that was the homicide rate according to last year. Now, at least 21 people were shot, including four fatally across Chicago from Friday to Sunday morning, officials confirmed. In one mass shooting incident, five people were seriously wounded after a fight broke out early Sunday morning in the Lawndale neighborhood on Chicago's west side. Five people ages 16 to 33 were on a sidewalk on South Karlov Avenue at around 1:30 a.m. when a fight broke out and a shooting ensued, police told local media outlets. A 16-year-old girl was shot in the back. A male and female, both aged 21, were shot in the arms. A 21-year-old man was shot in the left side of the body, and a 33-year-old male was shot in the face. No suspects have been arrested. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because the very people that are screaming, Black Lives Matter, are the very people that are harboring these thugs that are committing these acts. Oh, but don't worry, because this is black on black killings. Or in this case, this is black on black shootings. Nothing to see here. That's just the blacks being black. Besides, the blacks are already desensitized to this. The blacks kill each other all the time. What's the big deal? Amazing. In another part of Chicago, a man whose age is not known was shot and killed in Englewood, that's spelled Englewood, on the south side Officials said he was on the sidewalk on South Carpenter Street when someone shot him in the head and body, according to local media reports. On Saturday, two males were killed after they opened fire in Englewood at around 5 p.m. on South Bishop Street, police said. After they shot each other, both males were transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center where they were pronounced dead. One of the shooters was identified as 29-year-old Derek Washington, authorities said. Sounds pretty black. Another person was shot and killed on the south side on Saturday at around 1:30 p.m. on West 63rd Street, according to police. The man's age and identity were not provided, and no suspect has been taken into custody, police said. I wonder why. Now, keep in mind, these shootings are happening in broad daylight. 1:30 p.m. This is happening in the middle of the day, and not one person can identify this black animal that decided to go out and kill somebody else. Find that very ironic. These shootings are happening in broad daylight and no one sees anything except when a police officer supposedly happens to hurt or shoot a black person. Oh, then everybody sees everything then. Oh, yes, their eyes are wide open, and they'll scream Black Lives Matter all day. Black Lives Matter all day. All day. They'll be going out protesting. And actually, when these blacks protest, they don't protest. They go out. They they disturb the peace. All right. They damage property, and and they steal. This is what they do. And that's their version of protesting. They're going out and creating carnage. It gives them a reason to behave like black animals. Well, that's what they are. They're a bunch of black animals. Last weekend, one person was killed and another 26 were wounded in shootings across Chicago, which has among the strictest gun control laws in the United States. Wow. Well, how about that? Chicago has the strictest gun laws in America, and yet mass shootings are occurring every single day in Chicago. So how is gun control working out? You be the judge. Chicago has the strictest gun law in America, yet 21 people were shot and 4 people were killed on Memorial Day weekend. Go figure. From Friday from Friday up to Sunday morning, 21 people were shot, 4 people were killed. Despite the fact that Chicago has the strictest gun laws in America, and yet the mass shootings continue. Why? Well, simple. Because you can legislate the tool, but you can't legislate intent. Pretty much, these politicians are dumb and they're evil. These people are dumb. They think the gun is the problem. They believe that a gun can pick itself up, aim it at someone, and pull the trigger. Never mind the person behind the gun, who is really the more responsible party for the act. It's the gun. It's the gun that's the problem. A gun is nothing but an instrument. It's nothing. It's all the gun is. It's an instrument used to carry out the malicious intent. And like I said, you can legislate the tool, but you can't legislate intent. And that's what these dumb politicians are doing. They're trying to legislate, or what they're doing is that they're legislating the tool. Because again, it's the gun's problem. The guns are doing it. It's the guns. Let's make it so that people, law-abiding citizens, cannot get guns because it's the law-abiding citizens that are out there killing other people. Amazing. Amazing. Nah. Okay. I don't know if I said this. I don't know if I said this. I don't know if I read this, but I'll read it again. Another person was shot and killed on the south side on Saturday around 1:30 p.m. at the West 63rd Street, according to police. The man's age and identity were not provided, and no suspects have been taken into custody, police said. Last weekend, one person was killed and another 26 were wounded in shootings across Chicago, which again has the most strictest gun control laws in the United States. Yes, I've already read it, but okay. In 2022, there have been 899 shooting incidents, according to Chicago Police Department data. Earlier this month, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said in response to recent shootings, I'm not gonna rest, and I know the superintendent and the entire department shares my resolve that we got to do more to give people confidence and make them feel safe because they are safe. Um, Correction, Lori Lightfoot, you're safe. You're safe because you're being protected by the very security who can bear arms and who the taxpayers are funding the bill for. And yet you make it impossible for the citizens in Chicago to protect themselves with guns. But it's okay that other armed that the other armed detail can protect you with guns because you're more important than the very constituents that you serve. All right? Because you're the mayor and your constituents are peasants, even though you are the one that works for them. And it's not the other way around. Amazing. At least 21 people were shot, including four fatally across Chicago from Friday to Sunday morning. Okay. All right. I guess that's the end of that. So, what's the very point that I'm trying to make? And I'll wrap this up. The very point that I'm trying to make is simple. These people can care less about your rights. All right? These these so-called Democrats who are claiming that they want to do what's in your best interest are giving you nothing but lip service. All right? Look at their intent. Eventually, what they want to do is take away your right to own a gun. All right? You heard one of these stupid senators. As a matter of fact, let me play this again just so you people can hear the nonsense that these people are spewing.
We are not prepared to allow the gun lobby and the gun industry to continue to run this town and this place. We are never, ever going to give up until we make our schools, we make our shopping malls, we make the streets of this country a safe place to live and work. We are never, ever giving up until we win this fight.
I want to see the first two votes on background checks and a red flag statute, and I want to see where my colleagues stand.
What a dummy. Hold on. All right. What a dummy. He wants to implement the red flag law, which will allow anyone to call the police whenever they feel threatened with somebody that owns a gun. Another way for someone to just easily to easily take your gun. What if the person that's reporting the act is doing it out of malice? We know that humans have the power of manipulation. All right. Who's to say that someone who happens to dislike someone that happens to have a gun can call the police and say, "Oh, this person said such and such. He was making terroristic threats and he has a gun. I need you to go in there and take his gun." You don't think people are capable of doing that? Amazing.
And every one of them will be held accountable if they fail to vote the right
To the parents, the classmates, the co-workers of the 19 students and 2 teachers who perished in Uvalde, Texas this week. Yes, we offer our condolences. Yes, we offer our thoughts and prayers. But thoughts and prayers alone is not enough to prevent future tragedies from happening.
And as those funerals go on and you see more of those pictures of those kids in their communion dresses and in their baseball uniforms, every single time I want you all to think that 18-year-old didn't have to go out and get an assault weapon. This is completely preventable. So let's get to work, and when we get back, if they don't join us, we march.
We are not prepared.
Evil. What a witch. Amazing. It's just amazing. But this is what's going to happen. And best believe that if the Democrats had it their way, they would pass laws to make sure that you never ever own a gun ever. As a matter of fact, they want to go beyond that. Not only do they want to control your rights to own a gun, they want to control your rights to freedom of speech, and they want to do it through social media platforms. If they had their way, they will deplatform any conservative that has that has a major following on a social media platform. They want to deplatform all of the conservatives. Um, these people want to take away the very things that make America great, which is our freedom. All right. And keep in mind, they want to do it using the emotion of one isolated incident when there are several incidents of of black mass shootings that occur every single day that for some reason they don't want to address. And if they do, of course they're going to blame it on the gun and not on the intent of the person. These people are very disingenuous. But make your voices heard. We have the primaries to put the right Republicans in place to be on the very ballot to replace these godless Democrats. We have the power in the end. And don't ever believe when someone else says that we don't have the power to choose. We do have the power to choose. All right. And keep in mind, the very people that are probably saying this are the very people who do not vote. So, guess what? Their opinion doesn't matter. Just like how their vote doesn't matter because they choose to revoke their right to vote, neither does their opinion. But you, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to the patriots, the ones who do believe in this country, the ones who do believe in the Constitution, the ones that do believe that America is for all legal people that are Americans, the ones that do believe that are that our inalienable rights came from God and not from the government. I'm talking to you people. We have the power, all right? We have the power to overturn this tyrannical government. We can do this, all right? There's two things that we need to do for sure. One, we need to get back to God. We really really do. For our own sake. We need to get back to doing God's work. That's for one. And then number two, we need to take our power back. We act as if we're powerless. We have the power. All right. The government is only supposed to do specific things. The main thing that they're supposed to do, if anything, they're supposed to protect our rights as U.S. citizen and not infringe on them. And if they do, vote them out. We have an opportunity. Um, so far, it looks like come November 8th that a huge that the Republicans are projected um, to take to take over a lot of seats in the House and a lot of seats in the Senate. So that there's going to be a mass influx of control from the Republicans. But I'm not even concerned about that. I'm concerned about getting the right Republicans in because there are a lot of people that are Republican in sake only. There are a lot of Republicans out there like Adam Kissinger and Liz Cheney and Bitch McConnell and who's the other guy and Mitt Romney. Like all of these guys are Republican in name only. Any Republican that's willing to work with Democrats to infringe your right to own a gun are not Republicans. All right. This one representative. Hold on one second. I wanna call him out. Let's see. Let me see if I believe he's a representative from New York. Chris something. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can look him up really, really, really quick. Um, Chris Jacobs. Yes, that's his name. Chris Jacob. I believe it's Chris Jacobs. Here it is. Yep. This is the guy right here. Let me come over. Um, yes, Chris Jacobs is a Rhino Republican that is looking to vote on a bill to ban the AR-15. He wants to ban your right to own an AR-15. This man is a Rhino. If he is up for election, do not vote for him. Chris Jacobs is a Rhino Republican. All right. He's a Rhino. He's not a real Republican. He's a Republican in namesake only, and he only does it for popularity and for votes. He wants to convince the conservatives that he truly is conservative. All right. People say one thing and their actions speak another. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Chris Jacobs is a Rhino. He's no different from all these godless Democrats out there. Do not vote for him. Amazing. So take heed to what I'm saying. We need to get back to God, and through Him, all good things will come. And with that being said, this is the conservative, and I'm signing out. Great stream, and have a blessed Memorial Day. May your day be, may you get a lot of rest, a lot of food, and a lot of peace. Amazing.